What is the most valuable truth that you have gotten from here? If anybody was to ask you, let's say you're doing your screening right now, and they ask you, what is the number one thing that you have gotten from here that you know that you're going to be able to use as soon as you get out of here to stop yourself from reoffending and, in fact, doing all these things that you have planned on?
Trust. Learning to trust other people. Learning to trust therapists, knowing that they're not out to get you. So if I ever have a thought of anything, I could pick up my cell phone and call my therapist at any time. Or I could pick up the phone and call my family and know that they'll be able to help me. It's things that I didn't do. I didn't trust anybody. And I think that has a lot to do with the molestation. My mother not, you know, what my mother did as well. Because I always had the thought of, well, if my mother doesn't love me, nobody does. What was I going to say? I just, and trust is really big. I also think that one of the biggest things for me is understanding myself, understanding the things around me. Because if you don't know who you are, you're not going to know what to look out for. You're not going to know what you want in life. You're not going to know what is good for you and what is bad for you. You're not going to be able to decipher between the two. So you're just going to want whatever you want. You know, you're going to want everything. And you know, this place helped me a lot in learning who I am and what I want in life. And you know, I've picked up a few things in this place as far as crafts-wise that keep me busy, keeps my mind at ease, relaxed, where I can sit down and I can crochet all day long and feel comfortable and feel at peace. I work out, keep myself busy. When I'm not doing that, I'm working on therapy. You know, I did my relapse prevention book, wrote out a contract, done a lot of work in this place. I went to an NA group, completed that process. And I just don't think that people who do a lot of work in here deserve not to have another chance. I believe anybody who shows that the willingness to change, or shown that they can change from the time that they've come in the door to the person that they were at that time to the time that they leave, show a difference. You know what? I don't think it should be up to one person to make that decision. As far as the Attorney General, I don't think it should be up to one person. I think it should be up to your therapist. Who knows you better than your therapist? They're the ones who sit here every week with you.
Other than therapy, do you
have about 15 minutes left.
15 minutes? Okay. Other than therapy, what are some of the plans that you have that you have to move on with your life?
I'm going to go back to school. I would like to go to Bry and get some type of engineering degree, whether it be in automotive or computer technician, whatever the case may be. I would like to, you know, at one point in time, I would really like to be able to own and run my own company, landscape company. I love it. I've done landscaping since I was 13. My grandfather, I used to do it with him. And it's just a passion of mine, and it's something I would like to pursue. into, starting a landscape company. Whether I'm just cutting grass or not, it's something I love to do.
Okay, because of Megan's Law, this crime is going to hang over your head for the rest of your life.
That's right.
Because you have committed this crime more than once, you are never going to be able to get off Megan's list.
That's right.
There are people who are able to, if you're in tier 1, depending on the kind of crime and whatnot. But in your case, you're not going to be able to. How do you plan on handling that? Like, how do you feel about that? Like, for
I have
instance,
no problem with it. I did it to myself. I've done it to myself. I can't complain about that. I don't mind if I have to go to the police station every 90 days to register. That's fine with me.
every 90 days.
Every 90 days, it doesn't bother me. I can go every other day. I don't care. It doesn't bother me because I know I will. Because I know tier 2, I think it's every 6 months, I believe. Tier 3 is, I think, every 90 days. Whatever the case may be, it doesn't bother me. I have no problems with Megan's Law. Because Megan's Law doesn't stop me from living life. It's one day maybe 2 days, 1 day out of a year. If it's every 90 days, it's 4 days out of a year. I gotta take time to go to a police station. It's not a big deal to stay home.
Okay, well, other than that, if you do decide to go to college, because you're in tier 2, college officials will be notified.
That's fine.
And I'm not sure which tier you're going to be, 2 or 3. If you're a tier 3, your picture could be posted around the school. How do you feel about that? Would that stop you from going to school?
Nope.
It would not stop you?
Nope. I can't let things on the outside, I can't let other people's perspective and things that I can't control stop me from doing what I need to do. Not what I want to do, but what I need to do. Because there's a difference between doing what you want to do and doing what you need to do. In order for me to prove that I could be a productive member of society, I have to do the things I need to do, not what I want to do. They could post my picture up on telephone poles. I don't really care. I mean, I'm already on the internet. Anybody want to see me, go on the internet. It's no different.
You are almost due to get out of here. What is it, a little bit less than a year?
About 9 months.
9 months. What's going through your mind right now? Like, how?
I'm scared to death.
You're scared?
I'm
Why
scared
is that?
because I'm not scared of going home. I'm scared of not going home. I'm scared of being committed. Like I said, I don't think the commitment process is very fair sometimes. I mean, we've had people who have maintenance level of therapy in this facility who have passed the SCRB board get committed. And you have guys who act out in this place sexually with other inmates and go home. It really doesn't make sense. I've stopped trying to figure it out. There's no point in it. There's a lot of anxiety about that, about either whether I'm going home or not. But I'll tell you one thing though, my family is ready and prepared to, if they do commit me, to hire a lawyer and fight it 100%. Because I'm not going to just sit there and let them take my life away. I've done a lot of work, I've put a lot into myself. I'm not going to let them just take it away from me.
Do you ever think about how is it going to be out there when you get out, if you've been in here?
Oh, it's going to be difficult. I believe the first month is going to be the hardest. Not because of anything criminal, but because a lot has changed over the last 4 years. It's going to be hard to probably get a job, which is why I want to go back to school first. Because it's just anybody who does know me, they're going to see me. And word will probably get around that I'm home. You know what? It's something I just have to deal with. I mean, first month it will be difficult, but you know what? strong enough to make it through it.
Sex offenders are a really big target for politics, law enforcement, human rights organizations, just the community in general, everyone. And some would argue that sex offenders deserve a second chance, and once they complete their time, that if they get treatment, they deserve to maybe not even be on the Megan's Law list. Some people say that, you should have a life sentence. And there are those that believe that you should just be able to go free. Like, how do you feel about that?
My opinion is, listen, put them on Megan's Law. Give them another chance, though. Not all of them. Because, granted, there are some that do deserve to get committed. They just don't care. They do whatever they want in this place, let alone imagine what they'll do on the streets. I understand that, and I'm fine with that. I'm not against the commitment thing. I'm against how it's being run, how they're choosing who goes there and who doesn't. That I'm against. Because, I just seen the thing not too long ago on NGN, due process. You know what? They're right. Everything that person said, about 8% of those people that are over there deserve to be there. I'll give you a rough number of 300 people. It means 24 of them deserve to be there. It's a big difference. So, my opinion is they're trying to fill the beds because they get money. Everything revolves around money. Politics, anything. Government. Everything's around money. But I do feel that, you know what? Put them on Megan's Law. Hell, I'm even all for it. Listen, you can give me an ankle bracelet and a GPS tracking device. I really don't care. Because, you know what? I know I'm not coming back. I don't want it. It's not what I want.
You don't think you're coming back here?
No. If they allow me another chance, I will prove them that this therapy works. And therapy isn't just while you're locked up either. It's not, all right, I did my therapy while I was locked up, okay, I'm good now. No, it's a lifelong process. I'm going to continue to go to therapy when I get out. So I will be coming, actually, you know what? I will be coming back here. But I'll be coming back here for aftercare therapy. 1, I'm only half an hour from here. 2, it's free. A lot of people don't, like myself, I don't have money to be spending on therapists. They're not cheap. So I will be coming back here. My grandmother will be paying for family counseling. And you know what? That's what I'm doing.
I have one last question, and then I'll let you close up in any way that you like. How do you feel about the scale system that they use to put you on different tiers? Because from what I understand, sometimes people that are in tier 1 could possibly really be in tier 3. Some people would argue that sex offenders have a habit of lying and saying whatever it is that they think people want to hear. So I want you to tell me, what do you think about the process?
It's funny that you say that. People say that sex offenders say what they think people want them to hear, because that's what politicians do all day long. They tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. That's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with most of the process of tiering. I think if depending on the crime, I really can't say, because to me it doesn't matter what tier they put me on. I think it's only a problem to the sex offenders, the ones that care about what tier they're on. I think it's a problem for them because they want more freedom, because they aren't comfortable with themselves and feel safe enough that they won't do it again. I think that's their problem. could stick me out tier 4 if there was one. Doesn't bother me. But other people, I can't really speak for them. You know, like I said, I mean, therapy works in this place, but it works individually. Each person, it varies. Because you know what? It's not the therapist that make it work. It's the individual. If you don't want to change, you can sit in group for 10 years. It's not going to do anything for you. You have to want to change in order for anything to work. Just like an alcoholic. If you don't want to stop drinking, you're not gonna. Simple as that.
Okay, well, you could go ahead and say anything else that you might want to say, anything that you feel like you need to put out there.
I just think that, you know, I would love to prove to society that, you know, I can make it, and that I'm not the same person that if they looked on paper they see. Because that's another thing, you know, the whole screening process. They're going by your past, they're going by paperwork. They're not going by who you are today. They're going by who you were when you got locked up. And, you know, 3 years can change a person. I mean, it may not seem like it's a lot of time, but when you do nothing but constantly work on yourself and think about yourself and think about the things you have done and how you can change your actions. And there's just so many things that, you know, you can do and in order to change. And I think they fail to really see that. You know, I mean, I remember not too long ago on NGN when the Attorney General made a statement, which I think is an ultimately biased statement. So I'm going to try to commit as many sex offenders as possible. And not anybody else.
That's because that's what society wants them to do. You know, they're
Of course,
afraid.
but that's a politician for you. Give you what you want to hear. And I just don't think it's right. Like I said, I think it's an ultimately biased statement. I think she's premeditated in what she wants to do. Nothing's going to stop it. It's my opinion.